when we look at data protection in today's enterprise, what we traditionally find is that we've got a lot of sensitive data, okay? And they are generally in a lot of different places. So we're continually deploying new products and services, or servers, or clouds, or storage environments, and so on. And then when we look at the threats that are actually coming in, there's more of them, right? I know there's a question coming with regards to ransomware. So all of these threats need to be taken into consideration as part of your security policy. And then more islands of security as well. Effectively, what you end up with is more overlap. So you've got more data in more places. You're deploying lots of different things. You've got threats coming in from internal, from external, from all over the place. And the traditional security techniques are really starting to struggle to be able to manage all of those. And a lot of organizations will actually outsource some of this to third parties to provide a SOC in a box, for example, so a security operations center in a box, or a network operations center in a box, so that they can actually concentrate on what they feel is the most important. Now, I'm conscious that we're coming up on 45 minutes, and I do want to leave some time to answer some of the questions that are in here. So what we have looked at in terms of some of the solutions that we have implemented for organizations is really recommending identifying where your sensitive data actually is, and understanding what that sensitive data is. It's all well and good saying you've had a cyber attack, okay? But if your cyber attack is just somebody getting onto your network, is that really a breach, right? Yes, it's a breach of your network, but have they actually accessed something? Have they actually stolen something? And do they intend to utilize something on your network for a malicious purpose? Maybe, maybe not, right? My view of a data breach of some kind is exactly that, right? Somebody has got into your network, they have accessed some sensitive information, and they have either taken it or taken a copy of it, or they've actually looked at how they can monetize that further down the line. So identifying data security sources is very, very important. Now, minimizing the number of those repositories where possible is also paramount. I see a lot of projects right now where people are moving to big data platforms, and those big data platforms are very, very useful in actually providing you a concise area where you can put a lot of controls around that at least you know where your information is, right? And you can apply different protection mechanisms such as hashing or masking or encryption of that data, so that if somebody does try to do some kind of ransomware attack, the data is anonymized anyway, so you're kind of preventing against that. If you're actually signing code, you can actually, if say for example you're developing an application and you're pushing that application out to your end user customers, if that code is digitally signed, that is a way of also trying to prevent malicious code being injected into those applications. So looking at the data, leveraging encryption and key management, and how you can actually address the different elements that come along. But the fourth one is obviously looking at access control. Who actually is allowed to access the information? Where are they allowed to access that information from? And should they actually have the access rights in the first place? Those to me are some of the important facts that we need to look at and start to address. Now, from our perspective, as a solution provider, we have obviously provided a lot of solutions to many organizations, and maybe even some that are on this webinar today, around protecting their information. And we do protect information from a lot of different sources, from an encryption perspective or from a tokenization perspective, to protect either against internal threats or from external third parties. But encryption is actually the easy bit. Anybody can encrypt information. The hard part is actually managing those encryption keys. And even when you look at third-party providers, you may look at your cloud providers who are also providing data security solutions. I think we all see things where data has been released from an S3 bucket in AWS, for example, purely and solely not because S3 is insecure, but because somebody had incorrectly configured the password or hadn't changed the default. So it was open to anybody to actually view. So you need to look at the third-party risk that is involved, and by encrypting some information could actually be beneficial for you in the fact that you're actually reducing the visibility of that information to that third party without complicating the ability for that third party to continue to use that information. And then the third part obviously is putting even some basic controls in place, such as mandating strong authentication or two-factor authentication around your organization to protect your applications and your access. Those to me are sort of 3 or 4 things that that organizations should do and have been around for a long time, and so on, right? So I think there's a lot of things that we can do in our existing technology sets, but we might be able to do them or use them in a better way. So in conclusion from myself, what we try and do is, yes, there is no one-stop shop for all of this kind of stuff. We do try and provide as deep and a wider portfolio of solutions that organizations can leverage. We have been around for a long time. We are a safe, trusted pair of hands. And especially when organizations are looking to slim down the number of vendors that they have, so that again they can reduce their operational risk. That providing that they can work with a vendor who has a deep capability in this kind of space, and often provides a lot of additional value.